Hi, my name's Katie and I work at Gramercy Books, and it's my turn to show you my bookshelf. So, welcome. I will just kind of go top to bottom here, and then I'll talk about a few books that I really enjoy and that are like some all-time favorites. Um, I recently had to move, so I got to reorganize my bookshelf a little bit, and that led to some fun discoveries as to what I like to read and what I am currently missing off my bookshelf, and I don't know where they are. So, um, on the top of my bookshelf, I'll usually keep puzzles, really large art books, but since I'm kind of out of space and obviously I have some books on the floor, I do not have enough space for everything that I currently have, so things have gotten moved around or trying to find a new home for some of the stuff. But right now, all of my art books are still up there, and then I also have my Grady Hendrix books as well as Rebecca Roanhorse. Those are usually living up top there. Grady Hendrix and Rebecca are two of my favorite authors. I will talk about them all the time, but also they'll always be on my staff picks. If one of them is not up there, usually it's because we don't have it, which is really sad. But Grady Hendrix and Rebecca Roanhorse, while I'm just talking about them, I'll go ahead and talk about the two books that I love the most. Satan Loves You by Grady Hendrix is one of my favorite horror comedy-esque books of all time. His other books are really good too, but I think this one's specifically funny to me because Satan hates his job. And he's having a hard time right now, just wanting to see if he wants to continue ruling hell and running it. And his employees are on strike. There's an undead chihuahua, a WWE match fight for control of hell, and heaven's trying to take over, and a dead nun. So I feel like all of these things combined created a really fun, interesting story that I ended up reading in one day, which is a lot for me to do. Especially because I get very distracted. So this held my attention, and I thought it was really funny. And I just think the cover's funny too. I don't know, something about the style of cover. Unfortunately, it's no longer available because I think it's out of print. But I'll have to check and see if there's an audiobook somewhere, because there should be. I feel like I would love there to be an audiobook of everything that I read, but that's not always the case. Rebecca Roanhorse, fabulous human, incredible author, wrote this, and I first listened to this as an audiobook, and it was so good. It was very vivid. The way that she writes these characters and the world just really captures your attention and puts you into this environment, and I thought the world building was fantastic. I do love that she kind of puts a little cheat sheet in here for all of her her continents and just the people in the story, who they are, so you can kind of reference it. But there's also a map on both sides here, and that's Rebecca. She's an amazing lady, and I love the map. It's so fun to read this and then take a look at where you're at after reading it. But I was also just looking at the back of this and seeing how many people have blurbed this, and R.F. Kuang blurbed it. I didn't even see that. We love R.F. Kuang. Okay, anyways, this is really good. Take a chance to read this. It is out in paperback, and it's part of a trilogy. Favorite Star is currently up there. It is the second book in the series. Also really love it. Love the expansion on what we were currently doing in the first book, but the first book is still my favorite so far. But I'm excited about the third book to come out. I don't know when. I think maybe next year, which kind of makes me sad, but I'm so excited to read it. Beyond excited. Tread of Angels was also really good, also by Rebecca Roanhorse. You should read that if you want a quick little novella. It's really good. I am also going to tell you now that I am one of the people that will not remember specifics about everything that I read. I'll remember generally how I felt while reading it, and that you should read it because it was good. and that's all you need to know. Okay. I'll try and remember some specifics, but usually I remember a lot more if I've read it more than once, because it just kind of like sticks in your brain more. And there's only like a handful of things that I've read more than once over here, so we'll get to that. But what I found really fascinating while organizing my bookshelf was that I have a few, like, not as many horror books as I thought I was going to have, but also not as many romance either. A majority of my bookshelf consists of fantasy books, so it starts up there with Legends and Lattes, which is really cute and wholesome. You should definitely read it. And then it stops like here. And that was a lot. I didn't realize I had that many fantasy books. And still not all of them are up there because I have some here. And then I've also got like 6 stacks of books over here that I'm trying to find a home for. And space for. So there's a lot in there. But I love The Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. I usually end up rereading them in the fall time, or when I get a second and nothing else is really piquing my interest. It's like a nice little reread for me. I did really enjoy Emily Tesch's Silver in the Wood novella duology. Really fascinating and beautifully written. It took a second to read though, even though it was a novella, just because it was like a lot of description to just sort through. I don't know. Sometimes when I feel like the writing gets too flowery, I just stop paying attention to what I'm reading and I end up having to go back a lot. So anyways, The Shadow of What Was Lost is a trilogy that I'm currently in the middle of reading. I finished the first book, I just need to read the next 2, which I am excited for. And then he just started a new series, so I do want to read that as well. I bought it, just haven't read it yet. The Song of Forever Rains, another trilogy that I want to read. I have a problem where I like to buy the trilogies and then I'll read them eventually, maybe just not right now. And then I did recently get a Darker Shade of Magic series so I could read it, since it's Natalie's favorite book series, I think, of all time. Definitely her favorite author. So I definitely want to read those. And then some other stuff down here. I definitely stole this from my friend. I think she knows I have it, but I just don't know if I'll ever remember to give it back to her. I never read Outlander all the way through, even though the show was fun to watch for a while. It got to be a bit much, but really fascinating so far. I think I'm a few chapters in, and that was like 3 years ago. So I do have a few Sarah J. Maas books, but I really only have 3 of them. I don't know where the one went. Court of Silver Flames, and then I have the Crescent City series, which I do want to read. But I read this whole series, and then this one was my favorite, and this is the only one that I wanted to have on my shelf, so I bought it. From Barnes & Noble, which I didn't say that. They had the black cover, and I like dark covers, black and gloomy. Anyways, loved this one. It was like my favorite book that she's written in that series, because I liked the characters more, I liked the story, and I just thought it was a really nice, engaging read. I will say engaging a lot because that is just, I like to be captured by a story, so really entertaining. My romance shelf, she's a little bit more sparse than I thought she would be, but that is also mainly because I listen to audiobooks and I kind of forget that I don't actually own them. So the ones that I do own don't surprise me as much. I did hit like a Katie Robert kick for a little while. Not slow it down. It's mostly because I'm not enjoying that one series that she's writing. It's just not as good as I thought it was. And don't listen to me when I say that. You enjoy it, it's fine. But I don't know. I think it's just not going where I thought it was gonna go. I love the Delilah Green Doesn't Care and Ashby Parker book, and I'm really excited for the third one to come out for Iris. So we love queer and lesbian romances. I have a series that I currently really enjoy, and I'm hoping she comes out with another one in this one, but it's Amy Lee. She has 2 right now, and I know she has another book coming out, but I don't think it's set in the same story setting, so I would have to take a look at that, but I can't remember the title, so sorry. I would look it up, but my phone's up there. And then what's kind of romance? I don't have a whole lot. I wish I had more, but Nikki also tells me I shouldn't buy anything, which is fair. I really shouldn't buy any more books, except for the fact that that one's on the ground. Okay. The bottom shelf. I'm losing my train of thought. So the bottom shelf is my Katie. Fiction and then nonfiction. I don't really have a whole lot of nonfiction, but the ones I do have I really enjoyed. One of my favorite ones in here, one second, is The Vagina Obscura. Really fascinating. Give it a good read. It's like a sciencey book, but I'm not a big sciencey book reader, but it was fascinating. And then I also really enjoyed The Last Lecture. That one was sad. Made me sad. So I don't know. Read it if you want to be sad, I guess. Alright. Because I don't have space for these, so my YA books kind of live in front here. I do have more elsewhere. Yeah, over there. But I've got my nice little Twilight stack here with my little ornament that I like to keep with it. This is The Skin of a Killer Bella. I thought it was really funny, and I bought that like at 2 a.m. on Etsy, so good life choices. And then I have like my other YA books here. Gearbreaker is probably one of my favorite like sci-fi YA books. It's so good. I just I'm remembering how amazing that was. So definitely take a look at that if you need something that's like really like adventure-ish, queer, and very sci-fi. It's good. It's really good. Pumpkin. I love Julie Murphy. You know what makes me sad is I don't have enough Julie Murphy books, and I know I've read like all of her books. But Pumpkin. I love Pumpkin. I thought it was like really cute, well written. It still takes place in the same town as like Dumplin'. Love Dumplin'. I also really enjoyed 6 Crimson Cranes, which was like a book talk recommendation book that I ended up picking up. But it's a duology, and it's like a YA fantasy, where this princess gets exiled by her stepmother, and her brothers are turned into cranes. But if you know me well, there's a really cool map inside. Predictable is my name. I have a few others here that I want to briefly touch on. Probably not going to go into that much detail about them, only because I'm probably running out of time. But Fourth Wing was fabulous. I will say that it is a very quick read. It's very fast paced. You want to get to the end just to see like what's going to happen, and there's dragons. Like, how can you not like dragons? So it was a good book. I love Cassandra Khaw. I just read her most recent one, The Salt Grows Heavy, which is like a very disturbing Little Mermaid type tale, but like what happens after, and also like really grotesque but enjoyable. she's really good at writing things that are just horrifying. And things will linger, but you don't have to think about them too hard. Let's see. I feel like I'll talk about like 2 more and then I'll wrap this up. So something that I'm currently almost done reading is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I really like all of their books so far. I've read like 3. The Nettle and Bone, and then, I can't see up there, but the other one that's up there. I'm really bad with remembering titles. It's okay. But this one's really, really weird. And it's kind of creepy. And if you like gothic-esque books that like make you kind of question what's happening, this is it. I love it. I love it a lot. And there's supposed to be like another one coming out within that same like series, I believe. So I want to finish that one soon so I can move on to the next. I did pick this one up mostly because Rebecca blurbed the back, and I love Rebecca. And it was a really good book. My favorite way to describe this one is that it's a lesbian fantasy noir, and it delivers. It's really good. I feel like that is the best description that you can find for this book. Man, it was just so good. And I'm not usually like a mystery person, but there's a little bit of mystery thrown into this, and there's like magical detectives and a little bit of romance, but it's got a little bit of everything to it, so I think it'll appeal to most. I really like novellas. I love a little quick read. Okay, last thing I'm going to show you before I sign off are my literary puzzles. I love puzzles. I'm a puzzle person, always have been. I think that's just the only child in me. But The World of Frankenstein is probably my favorite puzzle that I've done so far. I have the Sherlock Holmes one. Look at me showing off my puzzles. The World of Jane Austen, and then Dracula. So, alright. I love puzzles. How can you not? And they're literary. So, thanks for listening to me ramble on about everything that I have on my bookshelf, but also just rambling in general. And I'll see you at the bookstore.